and welcome to the Rondo. Another Sunday, another great week of Premier League football. Well, maybe not so great for me, but great overall. Lots of goals, lots of really good games, and lots of good individual displays. Actually, before I go into the agenda, it's your boy hosting, as you know, repping this club that I've been a bit meh today. I'm joined by my guy, co-host, Jalen. Say something.
Bro.
Say something.
Man, fam. We just won.
So I'm saying it started already.
Introduce me.
Introduce
me, bro.
I said I'm joined by my co-host Jalen, bro.
Yeah, man. It's good to be here. You know what I mean?
Okay.
After a solid victory against my rival here, you know, I heard a lot of talk from him recently, and here we are.
Okay, that's enough. All right, and I'm also joined by our guest Alfonso. It's been a little bit of a while since you've been on the podcast, man. How does it feel to be back?
Yeah. It could have been better, but no, good to be back.
Okay. All right, without further ado, I'll do an overview of the agenda. So we're going to start off with the Liverpool-Arsenal game, go into a couple of the key talking points from that game. Then we're going to move into our weekly roundup and rondos. Going to talk about the fact that, it looks like Chelsea are in crisis. You know, Watkins' terrific performance over the week. Luton and their mad 4-4 draw against Newcastle. Lots of little bits. And then we're going to talk about Spurs versus Aston Villa since Alfonso have joined us. Who's going to get that top 4 position? How confident he feels. And then we're going to finish off with AFCON, which has been just AFCONing throughout. We're going to talk on, whether Ivory Coast can do one of the greatest recoveries that we've ever seen. And we're going to talk a little bit about players who are stepping up and playing for their country of heritage. So lots to discuss. Let's start off with Liverpool-Arsenal. I guess we may as well start with Jalen. What does this game mean? What does that win mean for Arsenal?
It's difficult, man. I'll be honest with you, because my feelings today aren't. I don't think we have dented you as much as I wanted to, and I think that's partly our fault, really, because we didn't capitalize on our dominance in the first half. Obviously, we gave you a route back into the game through a very silly goal, and at the end of the game, I mean, we've got the 3 points, but if I'm being honest, as an Arsenal fan, do I really feel like it's a big turning point? Not really. I think it's more just a case of we got a victory that keeps us in the race, basically. Obviously, if we lost today, I think that would have been, for me personally, I think that would have been 100% the end of it.
Okay.
I think right now we're still there with Liverpool and City at the top, but obvious problems for me still remain. And I think after the FA Cup game, when we saw Rice and Jorginho on the pivot, a lot of Arsenal fans thought, there was something there. Even though we lost the game, there was something new there that he tried. And hopefully going into the second half of the season, that would have been kind of like a foundation to build upon. We came back from Dubai and Kai Havertz was back in midfield, didn't it? So, I mean, I don't know what to really make of Arsenal right now as a challenger. Obviously, I don't know what you guys think as obviously rivals fans. But today, obviously, we got the result. But I don't know, man. It's still shaky for me, man.
Oh, fair enough. I feel like you played it down a little. I feel like how excited you are in the GC seems different to this, but I do like the fact that you're kind of being measured in your approach. I wouldn't call it a turning point, but I would still say it's a key victory, which I think it blows the title race wide open. It is because I feel like Arsenal fans, like you said, if you had lost that, I feel like we would have gone into the mode of more of a 2-horse race.
And I think,
but now it's definitely 3-horse race, kind of straight ahead. All teams within what? I mean, if City win their games in hand, which they will, all teams are within 2 to 3 points of each other. The title race is very much on.
It was starting to get to that point where, especially after Liverpool beat Chelsea and that big win that you had against Newcastle, I think people were starting to dismiss us a little bit.
Yeah.
It started to seem like people were saying, is it going to be Liverpool? Is it going to be City? And during the week, I wasn't really hearing people talking about Arsenal in that conversation anymore. So, as I said, I think the victory, it brings us back into that conversation. Obviously, I think it's clear that there's going to be 3 main teams going for the title, which is obviously good for the league. I think for us, there's positives in the performance. But again, as I said, I just think if I look at Liverpool, City and Arsenal right now, I think we're probably the team most likely to have an off day or a day where we don't get a result that we're supposed to get, because we've seen it happen already during the season. I mean, we had that difficult run that we've come through. But a game like today, I mean, I just feel like we've played against City and Liverpool at home, and combined, they've had one shot on target. But we haven't got a dominant result out of it. Like we can't come here from today and say, yeah, like we battered Liverpool, you know, we beat them 3-0, 4-0. You know, like when Liverpool used to like blitz City at points, or City used to blitz Liverpool at times. Like we don't have the attackers or reliable scorers that give us that opportunity to capitalize on those moments. So it's disappointing in a way, because it's like, I think you guys conceded the most XG today that you've ever conceded in a Premier League game. And I'm still sitting here thinking, right, like we needed a Van Dijk mistake to obviously win the game, innit? It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know that you're not too clinical, so that's always going to be a factor for you, which is the only thing I can say really. I think it's something that we've repeated. You know, Arsenal don't really have a killer in that front line. I think that will be a big game changer for them.
But pre-game, where were you at with it in terms of like going into it?
Going into the game, I mean, I always said I think today was it was a game where if we lost, or even drew, to be honest, I think it just showed that we weren't really serious. I think with the players that Liverpool were missing as well, I know we were missing players, but it just seemed like a really good opportunity for us to get back into the race. Obviously, we've done that now. But, you know, we go away to West Ham next week, and I'm still not sitting here 100% confident that we go in there and get the job done. That's just
so you think you could go to West Ham and lose now?
We could easily go there and not win. Like, because I'm just not convinced that we're in a position where if we're on top, we can capitalize on certain situations. It's happened to us too many times where Arteta comes out after the game and he's like, we haven't been good enough in both boxes, bro. I've heard it like 20 times this season. You know,
you're being very, very careful today.
It's not even about being careful. I'm a realistic fan. Like we're talking about winning titles, isn't it? We're not talking about a team being good or we'll 100% compete. We're gonna be there. I don't think Liverpool are going to get it done either. I think Man City right now are the favourites.
Yeah,
but
probably.
If we're talking about actually getting over the line,
I'm tired of this guy, man.
We have to improve in the final third.
When are those 115 charges going to come through? 115 charges, bro. Like Everton and Nottingham, they have like 3, and they're getting the points deducted this season. Why can't we get? Surely they can expedite like 3 of them. We're not
going to sit here and discuss this game and not discuss the disaster class from the Liverpool centre backs today. I was hoping that I wasn't going to bring that up, but I must say, Virgil van Dijk, you gave me life today, buddy. I'm very, very happy with the performance that you put in at the Emirates. Konate, I was waiting for this because the way that these Liverpool fans be gassing this guy, he came to our patch. The guy got sent off. Van Dijk at fault for all 3 goals, even left with an own goal. You know what I mean?
All three is harsh, man.
Yeah, all 3. Bro. No, the last goal, he didn't engage again.
Cool.
The second goal, obviously, no.
Second one's
he
like,
let the ball bounce.
Second's like 70% Alisson.
Yeah, man.
Okay, well, he's still there.
Maybe.
The first goal, no man's land. So at the end of the day,
when he goes forward into the midfield,
he's in no man's land. Absolutely no man's land.
To be fair enough, man.
You know what I mean? And
Van Dijk and Konate were shocking today, cuz.
And I'll be honest with you, like I think if Havertz didn't play up top, I don't know if that would have happened. I'll be honest with you. I think he actually contributed to them just being not necessarily rattled, but I think it gave them more to think about. And I think even if I look at like Saliba and Gabriel, that's why I was kind of happy that Núñez didn't play, in all honesty, because even though he's not a good scorer, same with like Havertz, they ask questions. They're always a threat.
They're physically more able.
Yeah, they can run in behind. You know, they can hold the ball up,
get some
the
fouls.
Movement is all right. You know what I'm saying? Even though they're both really not really reliable in front of goal, that's the type of striker that's going to cause the top centre halves problems. And it's funny because in the Premier League recently, there's been a lack of those players really, especially at the top end of the table. I mean, Haaland coming back has kind of seen more of a transition towards that. And you look at guys like Højlund and other players throughout the league, and the people that the top sides are targeting, that kind of seems the way that they're going. So I'm looking forward to kind of the battles going forward in the bigger games. But you really did see today like what that type of striker can really do for you.
Not having Núñez as a target man hurt us, because you could see like, I mean, kind of Jota and Gakpo were drifting into that 9 position, and both of them were really struggling when we needed an outlet against Saliba and Gabriel's physicality. So
I'm surprised that Gakpo even started over Núñez.
Núñez only didn't start because he had some swelling on his foot from the Chelsea game, so it's just annoying. That's why as well I didn't feel the most confident for the game, because I felt like going into it, and I'm normally very confident. I had a bit of doubt. I thought, boy, we already don't have Salah, obviously. We've been kind of doing okay, but you think Núñez coming out, I'm thinking, is there going to be much bite to our attack when we're coming against 2 such good centre-backs? And then obviously Szoboszlai pulls out as well. And, you know, I just haven't really been impressed with Gravenberch at the top level across his, short Liverpool career. So, You know, when those warning signs were there, I thought it's going to be a bit tough. But I thought we would be a bit better. I thought the first half was poor. Funny enough, the second half was a bit better, but still, you can't make those big errors.
Like, how do you now see the title race?
Well, I feel like it's wide open now. But to be honest, I always felt like City were on our shoulder. To be honest, I think if we can if we can beat City at home, you know, we can kind of put it back into our favour and go back into the driving seat. Obviously, to be honest, I always feel like there was pressure to do that. Because even if we beat Arsenal away, we'd still have to do that as well. But what I wanted us to do was beat Arsenal at the Emirates and beat City at home. And then I was like, boom, we can get that title. But obviously, it's a lot to ask. And I always, and you know what, the other thing was playing on my mind, we beat Arsenal at the Emirates in the FA Cup.
I mean, I told you this. It's unlikely. Like, as much as obviously we want to analyse football, I always go with law of averages sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, realistically, you were never going to beat us twice at the Emirates in the space of a month. It's just very unlikely. So when you actually beat
unlikely,
us
yeah.
in the FA Cup,
Never sounds a bit hard.
It would never happen. But as of right now, like with the way, obviously we're in a better place than we were a few years ago. I just thought it was very unlikely that would happen. I think worst case scenario today, we were coming away with a draw.
Fair enough. Question to you that I may regret asking. You think that performance from our centre-backs, you know, obviously there's been a lot of heated debate between who's got the better centre-backs, Liverpool or Arsenal. Do you feel like that performance from the Liverpool centre-backs now puts them kind of behind in the pecking order in comparison to the ones that you have?
No, I wouldn't put them behind in the pecking order. I think right now we just got to enjoy 4 good centre-halves at the top, really. I mean, I'm always going to be biased and put my centre-halves ahead. I think Saliba and Gabriel as a pairing, as I said, are slightly more reliable at times. But I think, you know, the Van Dijk and Konate obviously have their strengths. Today we saw, you know, their obvious weaknesses as well. But yeah, man, like, as I said, I think, you know, Van Dijk and Konate have done a good job considering that McAllister's basically playing in front of them, if we're really being honest about things. I think at the same time, they've had Alisson behind them. He was able to bail them out at times. We haven't had that. So if you weigh it up, I mean, they're all in the same kind of category.
Alisson behind them didn't do much today.
Well, I mean, yeah, today, but throughout the season, I mean, you know the effect that he's kind of had. And
I'll be real honest.
Talk about it. Say something about it because say something about it.
About what?
About Alisson.
Oh no, Alisson today was shocking. I mean, I feel like the third goal is somewhat forgivable because of the deflection, but I still feel like he can react to it, and him at the top of his game would. But that second goal, like, that's straight out of AFCON.
Yeah.
Like, I remember Toby saying it in the group chat. Like, bro, if you could, oh, come on. Some of the AFCON keepers, I'm African myself, guys, yeah, right? That's not coming from any place of discrimination. But if we're honest, some of the AFCON keepers in those group stages, that's what I'm talking about. That level of calamitous playing. Like, you could have replaced him with the Ghana, number one. And you wouldn't have been able to tell the difference with what he was doing. He just didn't even look at the ball, just, you know, kind of ran straight past it and kicked into air.
He had a similar like performance at the Etihad as well, where he wasn't like fully up to the race. I remember on the ball he was a bit weak, and then that Kanji goal, I think that got disallowed.
Yeah, he got very lucky that.
So I'm looking at like the 2 biggest games really that you've had, and he hasn't really been up to the race. It's weird as well because obviously he's by a mile like the best keeper.
He normally steps up, but he does have. He has,
when Alisson's bad, he's bad.
Yeah.
It rarely happens.
When he's bad, I just.
But it's not just one mistake. It's just a whole game.
He'll give you. He said that's not enough. He's like, that's not enough. I need to decide this.
Like
game
when
today.
that last goal went in, I was confused. Obviously, I know it got deflected, but I was still like, "Right, did that actually go in from there?"
It's still his body. Like he just wasn't really a set. I feel like you were gonna come in there.
No.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, moving on. What's our loss?
The only thing I wanted to say about Man City as well is that usually, I know what you said about kind of you wanted to beat them at Anfield, but I think usually the aim is keep City behind you as long as possible, innit? And then just try and hold on until the end of the season. But right now, I mean, if you take their 2 games in hand, I think if they win their games in hand, they're top.
They're top.
So it's going to be difficult for us to
That's what I was
keep
going to say.
them. Like, we kind of have to work together.
Do you guys
I need
mind
you, man,
it?
to beat them, in all honesty.
Would you guys, for you, do you mind coming, like, losing to City, there's no shame in that. Yeah. But for you, come behind Arsenal, for you come behind Liverpool, is there shame in that for you too? Or do you feel like that's fine?
Bro. There's no, to be honest,
coming third.
For me, there's no difference between second and third right now. I'll be honest with you. There's no difference.
It's not the biggest deal in the world.
In the grand scheme, obviously it's bragging rights.
If there's a big gap, I would be disappointed.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I want to win the league. So it's like, oh yeah, like okay, even if Arsenal were ahead of us by, never happening, but like 8-10 points, I'll still be like, yeah, I mean, that's great. You got second. I want the league. It's Klopp's last season. So yeah, I just want number one. So yeah, but I think it's gonna be tough. We'll have to.
It's gonna be tough, man.
Did you have any other? Because I said you can choose the last sub.
Yeah, the only other thing that I wanted to discuss was I know I already kind of discussed obviously Jorginho and Rice, but
Jorginho was good today.
There's been a lot of discussions about what Arsenal can do about this left centre mid position. Obviously Havertz being in the midfield, Partey obviously his obvious injury, Xhaka's obviously left. I mean, one criticism that I've always had of Arteta is his problem solving within the actual squad hasn't really been up to par. Like, I always feel like there's options there or there's solutions within the squad that he can use or at least experiment with a lot earlier in the season. And we did actually see Jorginho play earlier in the season, and for whatever reason, he obviously went a different way. But I think obviously we're getting to that point in the season where now it's like we've seen Jorginho and Rice play together twice now against Liverpool. And boss the midfield really. Like Rice looks really comfortable. I think Jorginho looks really comfortable, and the whole balance of the team just looks great. So going forward, that's what I would like to see towards the end of the season. I don't want to see
4-2-3-1 thing.
I'd rather see Jorginho and Rice, and I think it's a good base as well for when, let's say, if Partey does come back. I'm not relying on him, but if he does, it's very easy for him to slot into that system. Because right now, I still think we're relying on the same system that we played last season. We're relying on the likes of Gabriel Jesus. He's not always fit to play a very specific style of football. And I think the 4-2-3-1 is a lot easier for other players to come into that aren't necessarily accustomed to that very niche like system. So I really want to see that going forward. And I think, again, it even shows that we're one elite attacker away from really like dominating certain teams right now. It's very frustrating because we can't blow away teams, but you can see the vision of like, if we were to get someone like Oshimen, he can do everything that Havertz can do, but also I expect him to be a lot more clinical in front of goal. And I think we're one.
You're not convinced?
Then Havertz.
Then Havertz, of course.
Yeah.
But if we talk about him being clinical,
no, but if we're talking about in terms of like, obviously we're gonna get onto Watkins in a second, but if we're talking about in terms of like just everything that a striker's supposed to do, realistically, Oshimen is going to give you, from a defensive point of view, make him runs, being a hassle.
He's better than Havertz, isn't he?
And just having clean ball striking. But I haven't seen a striker at my club have that for so long.
Yeah.
And I just feel there's a really good foundation
striking,
there,
but his shot selection is poor. It's a bit like Nunes, but obviously
and
better.
I'm going to move on to Chelsea now as well, innit? But I think looking at Jorginho today and the level that he's still at when he has the right players around him, I mean...
He's better than Enzo.
I then look at the Chelsea midfield and I just think, imagine they just had... Because the thing about Jorginho is not just good on the ball, it's the calming presence as well, the mentality, the experience, which we don't have throughout the team. And it's something that I wanted from Partey, actually, which is one of the main criticisms I have of him, is in the worst moments or, moments where we're going through things, he's one of the oldest players in the team. Like,
you saying Jorginho is better for you than Partey?
I think it depends on the game, innit? Obviously, as a footballer right now, I think Partey's level is still better. But if we talk about like the games that Jorginho's had, I know he hasn't played that much, but usually when he comes in, he does his job. Like I haven't seen many games where he's really been below par, except for that very first game he came on against Everton. I remember Eddie first bought him, and us man was saying, "Oh my days!" Right? I had him sign him,
and the Spurs game earlier this season as well.
Yeah, I mean, he made a mistake.
He made a big mistake, but yeah,
Rice wasn't on the pitch.
So you owe Jorginho a bit of an apology then.
In what sense?
When he came in, you did it.
Yeah,
come in. When he came in, you were on him.
I mean, because if I look at Jorginho, I just couldn't.
Not big analysis, Jalen. You owe an apology. You're looking into the sky.
No, because I'm trying to remember.
You were wrong.
You were wrong. What I said, didn't it? But my thing is,
you weren't on his side. You weren't.
I wasn't. I don't think many Arsenal fans were.
No, they weren't. Yeah. So I was just saying, do you feel like you and Arsenal fans owe him an apology? He's proven to be a useful member of the squad.
I do.
Oh, okay.
I do still, and as I said, I'd like to see him start majority of the games going forward. If Partey is not fit, he has to play.
Nice. Cool. Moving on to weekly roundup and rondos. So starting off with Chelsea. Hey, you man are crap. That's the headline, bro. 8 goals conceded in their last 2 games, bro. One of the teams they played were Wolves, their mid-table rival.
Let's
more goals conceded than goals scored.
Wolves are decent.
39 goals conceded to 38 goals scored. 11th in the table in the bottom half. 1 billion spent. And these men are rubbish, bro.
I don't understand.
Questions needs to be answered. Who are we pointing the finger.
The manager.
Yeah, it's got to
The
go.
manager.
It's got to go Poch first.
It's
a shame.
Fan.
But it has to be okay. But the thing is, you as a Spurs fan,
go first. As a Spurs fan, talk to me.
It's got to go Poch first, man.
Oh,
I think,
okay.
of course, players to an extent, but at the end of the day, you turn around and say, "What's going on here?" You're picking the team. You can see what's going wrong, making the same mistakes constantly. It's not like he's been trying to it's on Poch. It's a shame. At the start of the season, when he came in, I was thinking, you know what? He has no European football. He's got a clean slate with his team.
No European football.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're not playing too many games at all. So I was thinking, clean slate. You're back in the Premier League. You have this kind of tag on your back of being a failure because of your time at Spurs. You come to a club now with unlimited resources, and you have a decent core. Of course, it's a bit messy and whatever else, but you have a decent core enough to build something, and you're doing this. Yeah.
I don't understand
I'm shocked.
You're shocked.
I am shocked. I never thought 11th. Sorry, in February. 11th. It can't be.
But that's the thing. The problem is because they finished so low last season. It's almost like he's just allowed to get away with it now, bro. Because the reality is, there's a lot of Chelsea fans saying if there was an option that was available, he'd be out. But considering the amount of managers that they've got rid of in the last few seasons under Bowley, now it's like, what do you do? But if you actually just objectively look at it, bro, he has to go.
Can I talk on this just quickly? Right. In my opinion, yeah, right. So how a couple of months ago when Chelsea were in 11th or 12th, right? I said the fact that the media is not banging on about this every day. And they came, by the way, they came 9th last season. Where did they come last season? 10th? No.
I don't know, bro. Honestly,
I feel like they came
somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle. I feel like they might have come bottom half, right? And I said the fact that there isn't bigger noise about this is evidence that Chelsea are a small club, bro. And I will go on it about it again. We are in February. Poch is 11th.
I don't know.
And his head's not on a stick. Gary Neville's going to do his podcast and talk more about the Arsenal-Liverpool game.
Guaranteed.
And he's going to talk more about Man United winning. He's gonna do little 5 minutes on Poch. Chelsea need to do better. They'll get together, bro. Poch should be getting heated, bro.
They don't have a pundit though. That's on the level of a Neville or whatever. You think if Neville supported Chelsea, he wouldn't be?
He'd be gunning.
Yeah, true.
Like a Keane. Like Keane would be gunning for.
Yeah, but even if it was Arsenal, them man would be on them from hater vibes. So that shows their stature of a club because they don't. That's what I'm saying. Neville and Carragher, they don't have hate for Chelsea like they do Arsenal.
Let me ask you this, yeah. So obviously, Arsenal's hate obviously started at a certain time, yeah. But if Chelsea were consistently like this for, let's say, the next 3-4 years, do you think there'd be a point at which we just completely forget about them, or do we start saying, you know what, this is Chelsea's banter era? Obviously, never went.
No, you're going to be Chelsea's banter era, and you're going to get onto them. I just don't think it will be as much.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
You won't forget about them. They've got too many fans.
You see, if they went a 4, 5, 6 year period where they were just completely
just mid-table,
just mid-table, kind of similar to what Arsenal have had. I know Liverpool had it at a time.
Yeah,
obviously United.
But we weren't even this bad. Bottom half, bro.
But even
bottom half.
Obviously United had a period where they haven't really been at the races either. But if Chelsea were to do that, I think we just forget about them, bro.
You think so?
I think we forget about them. I'll be real with you.
They got too many fans, bro.
They got fans, but bro, we're already kind of I know we're talking about them right now.
Leeds.
I'm not saying they're Leeds, but it's just I just don't think there's gonna be the same sticking point. I mean, obviously,
no, it's not gonna be
the only thing that's keeping them in people's mouths right now, I think, is the fact that they're spending money. That's it.
Yeah.
Because that's the main thing you can criticize them for. They're messing up the market. They're here buying this player for 100 mil, that player. So yeah, you're gonna keep getting onto them, but eventually that's gonna get boring.
I just don't get it.
Honestly, the fact that Bowley's been so whack.
The funds they spent and the players they have. I look at the team sheet. I look at the subs and thinking $1 billion.
That's why you look at Pochettino.
But even still, even though they've overspent and they've spent stupidly, bro, they've got good players in their team, bro.
And that's why it's Poch.
Yeah,
because it's not like it's terrible players. They have good players there, and they're still underperforming.
You see, if you're at a big side, you're managing a big side, and you're outside, the top 4, top 6, they're in 11th place. Yeah, you always look for little things that give you signs of, whether this manager is going to be able to stay here long term. I look at Pochettino. You look at the style of play; it's not there. Yeah, he's known for his pressing style. I asked the question earlier to a few Chelsea fans. Do you see Chelsea press in a way that looks like it's coached on the pitch? No.
It's quite erratic.
Pre-season, he started with this 4-3-1 formation. It was looking promising. He abandoned it as soon as the season started. He started playing guys like Chilwell, left wing. He got rid of, certain players. I don't know whether it was a club decision or whatever, but you look at that, the development of the younger players, It doesn't look like they're in an environment where they're developing. Like, I just look, and even like he put
who
so
has
much.
improved?
No, but he put so much
You missed the
importance.
biggest point. They've got a 220
No,
million
but we're gonna
pivot.
get onto that. But even with the £200 million pivot, like to get the most out of them, they still need to be in the right system, regardless of
And they have to be
whatever they
coached.
are.
They have to be coached.
Caicedo is a young player. Enzo is a young player. They
Yeah.
both still have to be under a coach and in a system
Yeah.
that is going to be good. And then my biggest problem right now is the fact that they just went on a run where I think they won like 3 or 4 games in a row for the first time this season or whatever it was. Obviously, they were scoring goals. They got to the cup final. You think they've turned the corner again? We thought this after like the Man City game earlier this season, but he put so much importance on Nkunku coming back. The guy played. They still lost 4-2 at home, bro.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So what is it next? What are you going to
Where's
tell
the
us?
missing
What
pieces?
are we waiting
And
for
I think
next?
he'd get more of a blight if he's playing bare like young players and trying to bed him in, but he's playing like the experienced players as well.
That's why I
and
don't
it's still
understand.
messy.
Still messy, bro.
And like, who's he actually improved as well?
220 million pivot, bro. Enzo and Caicedo coveted across Europe.
Why?
They haven't controlled the game. Like, what game is there that you can tell me of a good
can't
level?
understand- I just
Don't
can't
mention
understand
Middlesbrough, bro. Don't mention those Carabao Cup games where Enzo and Caicedo have done what we all thought they would do and bop a game. And they've got so many other players
I don't get it,
underperforming.
man. And then they'll talk about
Poch has
obviously,
to be under
they'll
heat,
talk
bro.
about
It's
big
not good
games.
enough.
But where do they go next? People say
That's
Mourinho.
the problem.
People say Mourinho is the only thing.
Oh, no.
They said that he started this under
Are you saying-
Abramovich. Let him just.
Are you
start.
saying
You know,
Mourinho?
I'm not saying that.
This is what I will say.
I know
This is
better.
what I will
But
say, yeah. Realistically, we saw a few years ago. Obviously, Lampard was obviously in charge of this Chelsea side, and they were
They got even worse.
No.
No,
but they
but
were
it's first
No,
time.
but what I'm saying, the first time they
the
replaced
first
him with a really experienced manager in Tuchel, who was a bit more. He had a bit more to him at that time.
Yeah.
and he transformed them into Champions League winners in a space of 6 months. So I think right now, if you look at the state of that Chelsea side, their young team, there's no stability there. You can't have instability throughout the whole, like from the players at the bottom. You can't have a young group of players, a manager that is out of sorts, and then a board that is still a mess. You know what I'm saying? There has to be stability at some point. And I don't think Pochettino's the guy to bring that stability.
No, he's
so
not.
realistically, if they're not going to get experienced players and they're not going to have experienced guys at the top, the guy in the middle has to be
But who
someone
would
that's
you
going to
get?
bring
But
stability.
who would you get then?
So when you talk about someone like Mourinho, I don't think he's in a position where he could stay there for, like a season, 2 seasons and build. But if you want to
not a
bring someone in
Mourinho.
for 6 months, that's going to be better
People
than
are
having
saying
Pochettino
that.
there now.
It's not a
they're saying
Mourinho
that.
No,
thing,
but you know why
man.
though?
His
Because-
football's outdated.
But my question to you is it better to bring in someone like that for 6 months and then obviously in the summer you look at it again, wait till someone comes in and the right appointment comes? Or do you keep Pochettino there and it gets worse?
I think bring Flick in. Bring Hansi Flick.
Long term?
Got to give it a go. He's the best manager on the market. Plays good football.
But that's what I'm saying. They need a good,
High
like,
energy.
a top tier manager, bro. That's the only person. that
Yeah,
can
obviously,
sort
I
this
feel
out
like
right
Flick still doesn't have enough. They need a real well-oiled, coached, cultured manager.
Whoever comes in has to do it straight away as well. That's the thing.
Yeah, they need a manager that's got that pedigree, that knows exactly what he wants to do to guide those young players, and
least
even
a
guide
style, though,
and
like,
even
do you know what I
guide
mean?
the board. But there's not one on the market,
At
so
least
I feel
that
like
style, man. Please, I just want to watch, like, even with Spurs, yeah, like even if you man were in 10th place, I know how you play. That's enough for me to say, right, cool. You know what, Ange, fair enough. I'm gonna give you a bit of time. The football's nice on certain days, but on other days it doesn't work. With Poch, you can't even say that. I don't get it.
wait, style.
Is there no silver lining so far in Poch's reign at Chelsea?
No.
Palmer
Nothing.
plays well.
So
But I feel like Palmer's kind of doing his own thing.
Yeah.
I don't feel like
It's despite of Poch.
has he fixed the goals problem?
No, they still leak goals.
No. I'm talking about scoring goals because we know with Chelsea,
create more
because Cole Palmer
chances.
just touched 10 goals, yeah, and I don't think they've had someone that's touched
Yeah,
that for a
they
long
create
time.
more chances. Obviously, they don't have a finisher. I don't think that's his point. But there's so many. I was giving Poch a lot of the benefit of the doubt when Chelsea were creating a lot of chances, and I was like, bro, give this guy a finisher because he's putting the team in the position to create a lot of chances. But when you actually watch them, right, they're messy. Like there's
dysfunctional.
It's very dysfunctional. It's very messy. They don't control games a lot. It's very easy to tip the game into your favor, even if you're a mid-table side, like we saw with Wolves. Like Wolves are decent, but bro, it's not the first time. Brentford have done it. So many teams have done it. So that's where, for me, you got to look at his coaching. It's not good enough.
I think,
Man.
obviously, my final point on Chelsea is just like, even when you look at the other Chelsea guys that have obviously left, I'm not saying that, Jorginho's been the best player ever, or Kovacic has obviously gone Man City and he's done a decent job there. But these players individually are good players, bro. Do you get it? They're just, if you're not in the right, environment, clearly there's something wrong at Chelsea. It's not just, we can't continuously just keep blaming the players, all right? Especially the younger guys. The more experienced guys couldn't even ball there. Do you get what I'm saying? So
the environment's awful.
Where are you gonna? What can they even? Do you know what? Forget about it. I just think bring Abramovich back. Worst case scenario, because I actually want to see.
Probably bringing Abramovich back is probably what they need to do. Okay, cool. Let's move on. All right, Watkins. Watkins is next on the list. Anybody got anything to say about Watkins? I've got a Rondo cooking, but you guys do your thing.
I think he's the first player in the league this season to touch 10 goals and 10 assists, and as a striker,
that's very complete.
He's leading the line for Villa very admirably. And as a fan of Arsenal right now, who are lacking, a striker or someone with a killer instinct, he's a player that I look at and I say, if he was in our side,
he makes a lot of sense for you guys.
We do all right, because you look at everything you want from a striker in this era. We were just talking about obviously what Nunes and strikers of that mold kind of give you, but Watkins has the finishing, in my opinion. I think it gets overlooked sometimes. If he was from a different country and hadn't come up in this league, and he came to this league and was doing what he's doing, we'd be saying this guy deserves a top 6 move, or he would be looked at the way that we're looking at Ivan Toney for 100 mil. We'd be looking at Watkins the same way. And striking off both feet, running in behind, the work rate, the hold up play. You look at everything that you need from a striker. He's a very complete player. He's very good with his feet. So he needs to be up there in conversations now. When it comes to summertime and clubs are shopping around for a top striker, I think 100% he has to be there.
Yeah, I think he should definitely be up there. Obviously, we're talking about Watkins because of Villa's 5-0 win against Sheffield, where I thought he was excellent. And yeah, man, it's a little bit of a potential Rondo, but in my opinion, I feel like Watkins. So obviously, right now on the market, there's quite a few clubs that need a striker, namely in the Premier League, out of the big ones, Arsenal and Chelsea. And the two names that they've been looking at are Toney and Oshimen. I think Watkins is a better striker than both of them. That's it. That's the way. Is that Rondo worthy, or is that something that we're hearing?
No, that can fly still. Yeah. I think. Yeah. Yeah. Like
I think he's more complete than both of them, because if you look at Toney's he's got good build-up play. He's quite complete, you would say. He appears to be quite complete. But then the thing is with Toney is he's quite static. He's very static. I don't think like in behind he's the best. He doesn't press as much as other nines. And I don't know if he would actually get a lot of goals in open play at a top club. Looking at Oshimen, he is like, he's got that energy, that movement. He's going to get a lot of chances. But then in terms of his build-up play and that finesse to his technical ability, he ain't really got it. I feel like Watkins has got a bit of both about him. He's got finishing, he's got build-up, he presses, he's got energy, he's going to get a lot of chances. As a striker, he's the most complete out of all three of them.
About Watkins and Toney.
Watkins, Toney and Oshimen.
I think, as I said, if Watkins was doing this in Serie A, we'd be looking at him the way that we're looking at Oshimen.
There you go. Well, there you go.
I think if we look at, right now, the only thing really that's separating them is the fact that Oshimen's had, Champions League experience. We're going to see how he does in the knockouts. I think they're playing Barcelona, right? So obviously that's a good tie for him to really like either announce himself, or people could go the complete opposite way and say, we don't want it. Watkins is always going to have that question of, when he's in a bigger pressure, when he's in a more pressure environment or higher pressure environment, how is he going to get on? How's he going to do against, let's say if we go away to the Bernabeu, how's he going to do? Do you know what I mean? That's the question mark, isn't it? Because when I've seen him play for like England, I know it's not the Champions League, but that's kind of like another level that you could look at and say, right, how does he do away from club football? He hasn't really done too much in those games.
But he doesn't get a lot of chances though.
He started a few games recently, and I've watched him, and he hasn't really done too much, which is surprising, because when you actually break it down, I mean, my biggest problem with Ivan Toney out of the three is he just doesn't have that mobility that the other two have.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
He doesn't ask enough questions of the defenders, and actually his movement in the box really doesn't. He's not going to propel him into that elite category, because he's not the best finisher. Let's be honest. His finishing is pretty average in my opinion.
It's calm.
Average is
it's pretty average to me. Out of the three, who would you say is the worst finisher?
They're so weird, because I think Watkins
is the best finisher.
Is the best finisher, yeah.
Of both feet.
Yeah, but I feel like Oshimen and Toney is weird, because Toney's got a lot more better composure and shot selection. But Oshimen is actually a better ball striker.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
It's tough between those two.
If you actually watch Toney, like especially recently, and it's even reinforced it in my head because it's something that I thought before, but he's not as clinical as people think. And I think because he's had time away now where we haven't been able to watch him, people are allowed to say stuff, and you're not really going to get challenged because you can't see it. We're not seeing it. Now he's actually come back. A lot of the things that people might have been saying before, they're not correct. That's the fact. He doesn't run in behind. He's not going to be able to press. yes, he's a bit of a unit, but to be honest, the other two can also give you
they also
a
got
good level.
You know what it is
of
with
hold-up play.
Tony? He's been away for a long time, so you fall in love with an idea of
the
him,
idea of it.
which isn't actually the case now that you're seeing him
But
come
also
back.
not
It's
to
almost
judge him
like
too
a
harshly
Linky.
as well.
But
Just
it's not
2
even
games
just
back.
that. No,
Yeah.
but you know, it's not even
Like
just
a
that.
who?
Sorry,
You gotta think about it,
I said,
yeah.
you know, like you have a babe that you ain't spoken to from time.
But even if you think of like what the top clubs want from their strikers, like a lot of the top clubs recently more have been obviously going with this F9 thing or whatever and kind of like full strikers. So you're gonna want more what Tony can do in terms of like his playmaking, obviously his ability on the ball. But I'm past that now with strikers, bro. I just want my striker to score, bro. I want him to do the things.
because
that
you're
we're
an
talking
Arsenal fan, bro. I
No,
get
but it's
that.
not just because I'm an
Get
Arsenal
that.
fan. I just think in general that's where football is going again, and I'm happy we're going back there. So if you're asking for those things, you're not gonna want a Tony. But if you want someone that's gonna drop in and do the playmaking, and you've got 2 goal scoring wingers, then Tony's probably the best bet.
But I also think that the gap between them, those 3 strikers, is like not that massive. But just like playmaking, there's a big gap between Tony and the other 2.
But do you think it's a thing where I think Watkins and Oshimen, like if you go for like one of the 2, you could pretty much either there's not going to be a big difference between the 2. I think if you go for Tony, it has to be very like specific to your style because you're not going to be able to do the things that we're talking about. You can't play direct balls in behind. You can't press the same way with him. The other 2 you can do that.
Even age-wise, Oshimen's like 3 years younger than both of them as well.
Yeah.
How old
kind
is
of
Watkins?
He's like
Watkins
28.
is 28.
This guy's in his prime, man. Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting
Oshimen
on.
still
Really
might have another
needs to
level
take
to
a
go
beat.
up.
So if someone comes in for him, you're Watkins, you're 28 years old. Do you leave Villa?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you
Why
take
wouldn't you?
that
Yeah, you could
chance,
take
man.
it. That's his
Because right
last
now I
chance.
see Villa because where Villa are
That's his
right now.
last chance.
Like I feel like a lot of their players in demand.
Definitely should.
But they're charging really high prices for it. Like you look at someone like Douglas Luiz, realistically, he could have got a top 6 move, but he's probably going to get priced out of one now. We saw it happen with Paulinho. He's going to end up probably staying at Fulham now. He's missed out on his move.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Villa is they've got money. So
That's the
if
problem.
you're going to take their players, you're going to have to pay a lot unless they get into some FFP
So what's the max
issues.
that you
But
pay for Watkins then?
I don't think you should pay more than 70 mil for Watkins. He's
70 mil.
28. He's a striker. You're not going to
Ready made, to be honest.
Yeah, he's a ready-made English striker, international as well. You're not going to really pick up a striker for, you know what I mean, kind of less than that. I don't think if Tony's going, I think Tony will go for about 70 mil. Maybe 6. Well, Tony's last year of his contract, so he might go for a young 60. If Watkins is under contract, as I said, I do think he's slightly better. I think he's worth 70. Cool, moving on, Luton. 4-4 with Newcastle. One of the best games this weekend was absolutely crazy, man. They were obviously 4-2 up at one stage, but Newcastle did work it back. A mad game with, kind of another Barkley masterclass, another goal from Adebayo, some good goals from Newcastle as well. What's our thoughts on Luton, kind of them coming to the league? I feel like they've been a great addition to the league and they've been giving us a lot of good games, but what's our thoughts generally? Anyone want to come in?
A lot of people thought they'd just be one of those up and down teams, come up, get pummeled, sent back down. And like the first few months it looked like that, but they've
That's
done
what I was going to say.
they've
Because
done a
I
brilliant
feel like
job.
there was a turning point.
There was a time where they was getting the slap.
They were getting battered, at the start of the season. I think they drew against you guys at home. I think that was a turning point for them. Obviously, then they had the game against us. They had the close game against City. And it was the game when I tuned in against Chelsea. And they just, they battered them. And I know Chelsea ended up winning the game, but the way they were going at them, it was just so direct. The crossing from the left-hand side, I can't remember my man's name.
Doty.
Yeah, he plays like, kind of plays like a Stuart Downing, but just mad direct, whips it in.
Yeah.
And obviously Adebayo is a threat, you know what I mean? So, I mean, as a side, I mean, when you've got someone like Ross Barkley who has undeniable talent, if he gets into a groove, I mean, you're always going to have a chance to pick up points against the mid-table sides. And it's a testament to the Premier League that they have those quality players there.
Yeah, 100%, man. I feel like their story is great, man. Because like you guys said, I feel like first couple of games, I thought they were finished. I thought they were going to be like literally one of the worst sides to come up. I'm talking Derby County type things. You know what I'm saying? Like barely 13 points over the season. And credit to the manager as well for him to like change it and say, you know what? We're going to give it a go. We're not going to bother being like really pragmatic and difficult to beat. And they've been, honestly, like they've been one of the best additions to the Premier League, in my opinion, in the last few years. Like some of the games they've been giving us, like you said with the Chelsea game, I thought they were great against Arsenal as well. Really gave it a go. They pummeled Brighton the other day, like 4-1. And that 4-4 against Newcastle was crazy, bro.
Though, the best thing about the Newcastle game is that it came away from home. Because I think the easy excuse to use is always, Premier League clubs going to that small ground. It's a smaller pitch over there. Obviously, they're going to be strong at home. But the fact that they could reproduce that away from home now against Newcastle has put them probably in a good space, for the rest of the season.
Yeah, great watch, man.
And they're where? They're in 17th place now, I think.
Yeah, 17th place.
Point
Hope
above
they
the
do stay
drop
up.
zone. Do you think they're going to stay up?
Probably with the points deductions, they will. So, Forest and Everton have ones incoming this season. So
Sheffield are going to be gone.
6 to 10. Sheffield are gone. Burnley are gone.
Bad, yeah.
So I feel like one of Everton and Nottingham Forest are likely to go down. So
what do you think of the striker?
Adebayo. I think he's doing the job. I did a TikTok on him the other day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't feel like he's the most able player, but he's, he knows what he's good at. He's got like little decent movement as well, and he's got that hunger for goals. Like I said, he's got more goals.
He used to be a centre half.
Really?
He used to be a centre half still. When we were 15, 16, he was a centre back.
You used to play with him?
Yeah, but he was a striker. He was a striker before that, but then he turned into a centre half for like 3-4 years. I don't know when he went back to being a striker, but now he's playing in the Premier League. It's crazy.
Is he Nigerian? No?
And I'm here.
Yeah, he's Nigerian. Proper Nigerian. You seen his name?
Yeah. But so why
it's
is he?
Paragraph.
Yeah, he's Nigerian.
Who does he play for? Like, what's his country? Like, why isn't that AFCON? Why didn't you go AFCON?
Oh no, he's English born.
Oh,
he was playing up with him at Fulham.
Oh, okay.
But like, I'm sat here talking about football.
And he's playing in the Prem, getting hat tricks, bro.
No, pick up my guys, man. Iberia as well. There's a couple guys there.
Yeah, fair enough. He's doing his thing.
So
he was a centre half when you were playing with him.
He was a centre back still.
Did you see that striker element to him? Or
the thing is, obviously, it's not that I didn't see it, but it's more like before I got there. Obviously, I got there when I was 14, but the years before that, he was a striker. So I don't know why he got moved from there back to centre half. But he always used to complain, innit? You could see that he always wanted to go back to playing up top. And also because the strikers that we had at the time weren't like the best. You can see, when you're centre half sometimes, like I used to get when I played for school. If our strikers aren't scoring more time, I just want to go there and do it myself. He kind of had that about him, innit? But yeah, watching him play now and badding up the league, I'll be real, it's kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah, it must be crazy players. Oh, that's mad actually.
It's crazy stuff. But he's doing well,
what a story, man. From Fulham under 15s at centre back, man's up top with Luton.
Yeah, but it's come through the leagues though. Because I think he was. I saw a tweet the other day. Like he went through. I think he was in the National League like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, swear.
Yeah, and then he's worked his way through the league still.
So, that's it. Even adding better to the story.
Yeah.
So he kind of.
But like, if Luton were to go down, do you think there's a Premier League team that should take a chance and bring him back?
I mean, if he keeps on scoring, they probably will.
Yeah, depending how he finishes on.
Yeah, depends. He's on now.
Yeah, keeps on going. Like I said, he's got more goals than like half the top 6. Half the top 6 strikers. He's got more goals than Højlund.
The Premier League's are the funniest.
He's got more goals than Jesus. He's got like double the goals Jesus.
How many goals has he got?
He's got 9. He's got more goals than Nunes. He's got more goals than Jackson.
Him and Solanke being at the top.
Elijah Adebayo.
You could never predict that him, like Watkins, Solanke, all of these guys would be close to like where Haaland is right now. It's mad. He actually deep it, like.
Yeah. No, he's doing well. And then you got like Barkley. Like I said, these guys. When I said Barkley's the best midfielder in the league, everybody called me crazy. Bro, he's been one of the best midfielders in the league, bro. He's defo top 3, top 5, in and around harsh. There.
Top 3
like,
is harsh. But
if you're talking about like
do you think Barkley could play at a top side right now?
Yes.
And just slot in there seamlessly, or do you just think it's a thing where he just stands out bears because he's at Luton?
Of course, he stands out bears because he's at Luton. I don't know if he would start.
So would
for
he
a
be
top
like
side.
a game breaker at a top side, basically?
No, he wouldn't be. No.
So what type of role do you think he could play in that side?
He could be a game breaker, but I don't know if he would be one. But I feel like he'd definitely be a good addition to the squad. He's got good qualities.
Fair enough.
Glides plus players like they're not there. He's got good end product as well.
He's lost that physicality.
Physicality is still there as well. Take him to England, man. Hey, Gareth Southgate, let me chat to you, man. You see I saw you. You know Gareth Southgate was in Amsterdam watching Henderson the other day. Now listen, I've got love for Henderson, yeah. But Henderson is well past it. Phillips ain't starting over Susek at West Ham. Broski, take Barkley, take Eze, take Jones for that third 8 position. If I see
Ruben Loftus-Cheek as well, I'd rather have him.
Yeah, man, even take
in transition in the CL, you need to see what my man's doing.
Even take him, man. Even take him. If I see Henderson and Phillips, man, unless Phillips does a lot better than he currently is at West Ham, but he's obviously just
I'd still rather take Mainoo.
But honestly, man,
there's bare, man.
He's got so much selection. Really and truly.
Do
you see the midfield thing? Yeah, England have options, bro. So if he continues taking Phillips, who made another mistake for a goal today, by the way. And he takes Henderson, that's a vial. That just tells me he's unserious.
It tells me that he's just biased.
It's not based on merit.
It's just he's just
always
completely
says as well.
He always try to say it. But no, bro,
it can never be.
You just got some feelings for Phillips and Henderson, man. I don't know what's going on there. But do you want to quickly talk on Mainoo? Obviously, he
Yeah, I
scored.
think Manu-
He scored that
Manu
goal.
scored a goal, yeah, or he had a moment, which
Tell us,
I said
man.
to you, man. I've been dreaming about that moment in my living room, and I'm sure many men have for a long time. When you're playing with, the small little footballs, the little small ones, and you're kicking it around to the sofa
from the goals part.
Yeah, the sofa.
In the
The sofa's the goal, and you're doing your own commentary, and
Yeah.
you're running through in your living room, and you score a goal, yeah, in the last minute. That is the moment. Man had it in real life. And then not only that, but then after that, he done the calm down.
Calm
You know what I'm saying? I'm here now.
I'm here. No,
You know what
that
I mean?
was a moment. man. I
Mainly,
felt so happy for him.
I hate rival players, yeah, but you see with him, I said before, the same thing I said with Saliba. I just think sometimes you see a player and it's just so obvious that they're destined for the top. He's one of those guys. And I think the only thing that can hold him back is United just going completely left. But I think with him in the side, they're only going to go up.
Yeah, that last crunch winner for Man United
It's a ridiculous goal.
was a ridiculous goal,
What?
man.
That was a
Like,
ridiculous
even like
goal.
out of context, it's mad. But like with the context of a game, like last minutes to win the game,
Bro.
that's big. That's kahunas.
crazy.
To do that-
18.
To do that,
18.
Yes,
Bro,
yeah,
and the
yeah.
goal, it was a mad goal.
The only thing
bro.
that's going to hold him back
he glided past three players.
that Manchester
Sorry.
accent. Yeah, it's not really hitting, man.
That what?
It can't be a superstar. with
Mancunian
that.
accent.
Yeah, you can't
It's
be a
not really-
superstar with that, man.
Why?
I saw him do an interview the other day, and it just I don't know,
It's not
man.
kicking off.
Nah, but you
That was
man,
a Manchester
to hear,
boy,
to hear a black guy talk like that is bad, you know.
This guy.
What, man, don't understand that. Bro, I was
This
listening
guy's
to him
crazy.
speak, because you're just expecting like a guy from
London.
Ends to play.
Yeah,
Like, he
yeah.
plays like a guy from like South
Yo,
London.
no, I
like.
can't lie. No, yeah.
So when I heard the interview, I was like, oh my day, he's actually from Manchester. I can't lie. I lost a couple points.
He's got the geezery Manchester
Like,
accent.
you see like how we back Sancho here because he's from Ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's made it out. Like if Manu was that, bro, this guy, I might
he'd
get
be
top
off.
with his name. You know? I'll be real.
off,
The guy's
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, United top with his
The
name on
guy's
it.
cold.
He's cold,
Oh, my
bro.
days.
I can't lie, Manu. I'm invested. 18 years of age, and he plays like such a baller, bro. He plays with such sauce. Like he plays like Thiago. He plays like Thiago, bro.
Yeah, he does.
He actually plays it with the little feints.
But he
and the
even looks
reverse
like
passes.
he has more of a defensive mind though.
Yeah, more physical.
This is a baller,
if
man.
he's coached properly in that United system,
Well, unfortunately, he's under 10 hard.
yeah, he probably won't be. But if he's coached properly in that, as a 6, the qualities that he has, he should be playing for like Barcelona. I didn't know England could create players like that. Honestly,
Manu should play for Barcelona.
well, you wouldn't want him with the way Barcelona are, but he's a Barcelona
Do
player.
you think?
Don't you think so?
I got a question.
like
For
those
you.
caliber teams. Yeah.
yeah.
I got a question for you. Do you think Manu right now is better than what Lavia was for Southampton? I know we ain't seen much, but Lavia was around the same age during that season.
Around the same, I would say. Around the same. But obviously, Manu is there's added pressure. I feel like you got to remember with Lavia, he was doing his thing, but he was able to go under the radar for quite a while. And then people were like, wow, this 18-year-old's been playing like really well for quite a while. When you're playing for Man United, the spotlight is on you. If he makes an error, it's...
And then the team that's out of sorts as well. I think that's the main thing. When you can tell if a player is either he's destined for it or he's not, is the way that they respond to certain things like that. And you could just tell his mentality and like the way that he even performed. I remember when they had a game against Galatasaray away, which is a mad hostile environment, high pressure game, and he came on and he cruised through it. You know what I mean? The guy's 18,
Bro, he's a 150 million talent, man.
and you just think England's midfield.
I don't care. He's a 150 million
could have-
talent,
you
bro.
could have-
18, he's cold.
Manu is 150 mil.
Yes, he's a 150 mil talent, bro.
Oh, okay, all right.
He's a-
I'm not
Next,
going that
next
far.
segment.
He's
I'm
a
not going that far.
150 mil
But what I will
talent,
say
bro.
is that obviously
Actually, 150 is quite a lot. 100 mil talent. 150,
if I look at
100, let me say 100. He's 100 mil talent. He's 100 mil talent.
I'm not
Small
co-signing
sample
this
size.
yet,
Small
but
sample
again,
size. But he's.
I think if England have, Rice, Manu, and Bellingham, you look at the mentality of those three and just the quality, the balance between them. That's unreal.
That's unreal, bro. That's
unreal.
That's England sorted
That's
for a
with depth as well. We have
That's
other
England
players on the
sorted for a
bench who can come into
generation.
that.
The fact that for the next tournament, that's probably going to be the midfield. I feel like we should try.
because, Southgate would do some foolishness, bro. There's no way you'll see that free together. I promise you, it's impossible.
You actually make a good point,
It's impossible, bro. I ain't even see Foden in there. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Just be serious now.
Yeah. Cool, man. Do you have anything else on the weekly roundup? If anyone's got any rondos, speak now. Forever hold your peace.
Nah, not really.
I want to speak about somebody quickly. Someone needs a bit of praise.
Okay.
Someone who goes by the name of R9.
We're gonna get on to
Someone needs a bit of praise because
Stop calling him that. But
yeah. He's Richard. He should be Richard, but yeah, he has stepped up. Last season, people were gunning him, saying, "Oh, 0 goals in league." We could see the team was dysfunctional. Conte was doing all sorts. He needed to have surgery as well. He was out of it. This season, he's come under a new manager. Kane's gone. Big boots to fill. Stepped up. stepped up massively.
feel Kane's
Son,
boots?
no, of course not. No one can. But as in Kane's gone, we needed someone to get the goals now.
Yeah.
He stepped up. Son's gone. Son said to him, like, while I'm going to step up, he's done it.
Yeah.
9 goals in 8. Like, Richarlison's come and done his thing. Sometimes with players, you just need patience. It's not everyone's going to come in 7 months. I remember Ishmael, Mandem talking in the chat, Corey talking. Shut up.
I said the same thing. Okay,
Shut up.
let me say something.
Go on.
But the thing is, like, I said this about Hodgland earlier. Yeah?
Bring the mic a little closer to you.
I said something about Hodgland earlier, but I just think, like, if you're a rival fan and you see a 60 mil sign or 70 mil sign and go a couple months without scoring, I don't care about what my opinion is of that player because I like Hodgland and I've actually vouched for Richarlison in the past. I'm going to get onto them, bro. If you're not scoring goals. Yeah, but if we actually talk about Richarlison, we have a completely like non-agenda conversation now. I think at Everton, you saw the kind of quality that he had when he was
Even
up
at
top.
Watford as well.
Obviously, Brazil as well. He's led the line well for them. You can kind of see why he's chosen over Jesus at times. And that hurts to say as an Arsenal fan, but it's the truth.
Is that what you're saying?
I've said this before.
That's clear,
I've said
man.
it
It's
before.
clear
Do
why.
you think Richarlison's better than Jesus?
I'd rather have Richarlison. If I could get the best version of Richarlison and the best version of Jesus as a striker,
You're getting
I'd rather
nuts.
have
You're getting
Richarlison.
everything from Richarlison. He's giving you
I'd
everything.
rather have Richarlison.
He's
Rather
a,
have
he's a
Richarlison.
If I get the
nightmare.
best version
Arsenal
of
fan.
if I get the best version of both.
Yeah.
Because as I said, it depends what you want from your striker, bro. If you want goals and you want the things that like running in behind, and you want the mentality that Richarlison has as well, you know, just the dog.
Yeah,
You're gonna get that from both of them, but you're gonna get more
nasty.
goals from one than the other, bro. That's the real. And I'm tired of this non-goals thing that he's just doing. I don't have time for that no more. So
Fair
I think
enough,
Richarlison,
man.
good player, man. I'll be real with you, like he's a good player, man.
He's a good little player, man. Must
But
be good for him
now,
as well.
what do you
'cause,
do? What do you do when Son comes back though? Because I think Richarlison was playing on
me
the
even
left
check now.
originally, innit? And Son was up top. So do you now put
but
Son on the left?
No, it'll stay. I think it's about
Richarlison up
Werner.
top.
It's about Werner now. Werner will probably come out and
he
then
has
have
to come
Son.
out, surely.
Yeah, it'll be Son back left, Richarlison through the middle, and then maybe Kulusevski on the right. So
No, I hear that.
I was just checking as well. Yeah, he's got more goals in it than Wilson and Antonio.
combined.
Yeah,
More goals?
combined.
Yeah.
And they were giving him a tough
They're
time.
still talking on their
They can't-
podcast.
they talk too
Where's
much,
Antonio
man.
been this season? Who's seen Antonio this season? Have you
Yeah,
seen
I don't
him?
know what-
Yeah,
does he even
Antonio's not
play?
me. No, he
Oh
don't
no,
play.
Bowen's up top now.
No, Bowen plays up top. Well, look at you.
But even like,
Do you like the sight of that?
Yeah,
You
of course
feel
I
like
do.
they spoke a
Yeah.
little bit too much?
No, thing is, I get it. Like, I think it's good for the sport when you have players
okay.
like that who can kind of talk that freely. Like, even in basketball, you have it when players will kind
Yeah,
of say,
yeah,
talk their
yeah.
crap. So I wasn't against Antonio Wilson saying what they said. Like, they got at him, and you know what? He weren't scoring goals, so fair enough. But now, now it's time to say, you know what? We spoke, and he's proven us wrong. Cool.
think obviously-
But I'm not against him. Like, bro, he weren't scoring goals, so call him out about it. But now he stepped up, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good time to move on to Spurs. Obviously, you guys kind of drew that game at the weekend. We're gonna have a wider conversation about who we think is gonna, finish in the top 4. But what's your thoughts so far where you are? I know I've asked you this before, and you always come on here. You're a bit cautious. Obviously, we're getting to the point where there's like 15 games left of the season. Table's starting to take some shape. We know who's gonna be fighting for what. What's the situation now with Spurs?
yeah, I think in my heart of hearts, I'd be upset if we don't get a CL spot.
Oh, we got there.
That's
finally,
where
man.
I'm at.
got
Got a shout from our
That's
pods,
where I'm
though.
at. That's where I'm at at the moment.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at at the moment because, of course, like early in the season, it could have been a purple patch with Ange. Like we went through like a 10-game spell without losing. We was doing really well. But then seeing how we've dealt with like Maddison being out, Van der Ven being out, Son being away, Romero being suspended, Bissouma being out, like all of these things that have happened, and us still showing the personality and performance that we have, I have to say that with this team now, it's got to be a push for CL, especially with the 5th place being an option as well for CL football this year.
Potentially, we don't know that
Potentially being an option for us. We got to push for CL football. I think Villa are top side and we're doing really well, but regardless,
I was
that's
going to say
us.
that next year because my thing is like, I think if you looked at it and you missed out on CL to more of like a heavy hitting team, let's say like a United or whoever it is, then potentially you're gonna feel a bit more okay about that. But I think now, if Villa were to finish ahead of you and get that spot, I think it leaves you guys in a worse position just because of who you've actually missed out to. Because I don't think Villa are a better side than you
in a
guys.
worse position compared to
And
when?
and you're a bigger club than them, innit?
Compared to when?
Yeah, you're a bigger club. Villa aren't
like-
too far off though. In terms
Not
of
too
quality.
far.
Villa got some good players.
Yeah,
you
for sure.
think Spurs realistically they're in the big 6?
Yeah,
You know
they
what I'm
are.
saying?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but if you miss out to Villa, I think you're going to look at the season differently compared to like if you were to miss out to like a United.
It's a failure for Ange if he doesn't get top 4. I would say in the position that he's in now and what we now expect of him. Because I now see Ange as. But when Ange first came in, I didn't know anything about him, to be honest. I don't watch SPL. But I would say so because I rate him now. I think he's a good manager. I think he's instilled a style of play quickly. And I know you don't rate him, but I rate him.
It's not that I don't rate him. It's not that I don't rate him.
Okay. But let me just finish. Let me give the guy some props, man. So I think he's a good manager. I think he's a top quality manager. I think he's instilled a good style of play, which is something like you're not gonna question him going forward if he doesn't get top four, because at the end of the day, Spurs have a way of playing. They have something they can hold on to, which is not like other managers that we've spoken about previously on this podcast. But I feel like where you are right now in terms of where you should be seeing Ange and what he's done going forward, you should be getting top four. Like, otherwise, he's not really what I think Spurs fans and what some of us who are fans of him from a footballing perspective is. He's a bit off that. Maybe you can get there, but that's what I would say.
Yeah, I think if we don't get top four, it's disappointment. I wouldn't say it's a failure. Because
Okay,
start of the season, failure is a
fair.
harsh word, but I think for sure where we're at now, what we've seen from the team and what we've seen from Ange as well, not getting top four, we'll end of the season and be like, at the start of the season, like not having Kane here, he's thinking, people saying about, you might not get top 10 or whatever. But now having seen where Spurs are at, it's got to be a top four push.
Just quickly, though, I just want to ask a question. Wait, did you want to say something on that topic? Yeah, go on.
Obviously, the January transfer window has been really quiet, but Spurs have actually done business.
Yeah,
Obviously,
and straight away,
Werner,
early.
That centre-back came in who wants to go to Real Madrid. You know, obviously came on the other day and I'd struggled against Beto, by the way. But
You're a bad guy, man.
Get to the point, man.
No, I'm saying. But
Some random tangent.
I'm not
that shocking.
No, do you know what? Because I hate my man.
His agent and all this. Man, by Beto.
Beto is one of the he's one of the worst strikers I've seen there. When he came on, I said, nah, there's no way Everton are coming back. Then my man came on. What's his name? Dragasad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came on and it was a back five. And they were proper battling in that, bro.
Yeah,
I was thinking, fam,
So-
this guy wants to go to Real Madrid and you're struggling against a guy that should be in flipping National League. Crazy. But anyway, yeah, but what was I even on?
Exactly.
I was saying, yeah, obviously you guys have done like the most business in January, innit? So again, I just think based on that, you're probably in the best position, I'd say, probably going forward. I think your squad, once Son comes back from the Asian Cup, obviously players coming back from injury, you should really have the edge against Villa.
Facts.
And
We have depth now.
Yeah.
Villa only 5 points off top right now, still.
Yeah, it's all tight at
This
the top,
prem is
man.
nasty, man.
I just want to ask quickly, who's quicker out of Van de Ven and Saliba?
Van de Ven, man. Van de Ven's eating that guy.
He said Saliba's quicker than him.
Do you think
Who said that? Van de Ven said that.
But do you think he's got better acceleration? Because Saliba is quick, bro. Because
Yeah.
I'll go back to that. I didn't know how quick
Van de
Saliba
Ven
was.
runs like Forrest
When-
Gump, bro. It's so like, I don't know how to explain. The form is just like, it's like what's that guy from Rocky 4? The white guy.
the
He just runs like a machine, bro. Like, it's mad.
Man said he runs like a
And then
Russian
Saliba's just there, like he's all gangly and that, but he's still quick in it. But I think off the eye, Van de Ven looked quicker in it. But
I think his Van de
Even
Ven's.
strides
I think
as well.
Van de Ven's acceleration is
It's
crazy.
mad. It's
For a
crazy.
centre back, I have not seen acceleration to his level. I do think Van de Ven's the quickest. Like,
Deceptive.
bro, there was a play against Everton, right, where Harrison was through on goal, and the ground Van de Ven ate up, bro. I honestly, bro, like I've never seen a
CB,
centre back
yeah.
eat up grass like that, bro. That was nuts, bro. But Saliba's very quick as well. I'll go back to Saliba's foot race versus Nunes. That was brazy. I didn't like beating a striker as quick as Nunes in a foot race for a centre back is very commendable. It was quick.
Conscious of time, innit? But I want to ask you quickly,
AFCON.
as a rival fan, like, so out of Spurs and Villa, though, who do you think is gonna finish fourth?
I think Spurs will. I think
What's that based on, though?
I feel like they've got certain players, Van de Ven being one of them, Maddison being another, who are coming back that take them to a level which is above Villa. Maddison's a big boy game changer. Son is gonna come back as well.
Do you know what?
They can hit a real nice one. They can win a lot of games.
No,
like,
do you know what? I agree with you. The only thing that I'd say about Villa is recently, I know Emery's kind of come under criticism about kind of the defensive side of the game and how they set up away from home and whatever. I kind of see more now that he's started to play like Tielemans in the middle three. I think he's become a bit more pragmatic, probably seeing that they do have the possibility to finish in the top four, and he's starting to kind of adapt to that. So
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to drop as many points in the second half of the season simply because of that. But obviously he's Unai Emery, so when the pressure hits, you know, he's probably likely to go left. But then Spurs at the same time,
Yeah, facts.
Spurs are the same thing. So
Yeah. Well,
Should be
it's
interesting,
going to be tight. I just fancy Spurs because of the quality of those players I mentioned. You know, you got like Van de Ven, Madison, and Son in your side. These are
it's a good spine.
These are top draw players. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we'll see. Quickly, man, just 5 minutes on AFCON. So there's kind of two key things I want to speak about. So Ivory Coast, right? Like, I feel like they might do the biggest recovery arc and like have one of the best stories that we've seen in an international tournament in a while. So obviously they were terrible in the group stages. Lost like 4-0 in their last game to Equatorial Guinea. Oh no, Guinea or just Guinea. Sorry, one of Equatorial Guinea or Guinea. I apologize. I can't remember which one.
I was about to say something.
And they sacked their manager. I don't think they have a manager at the moment.
Yeah, Serge Aurier's player.
Serge Aurier's player manager. Yeah, crazy. I thought that was just a rumor.
I can't lie. No, you know if is that not true?
No, it can't be.
He can't be.
The assistant became manager. Sure.
Yeah, the assistant.
I saw
he was on the court. He was like,
okay, well, this is why you don't believe everything on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it was. The players suggested it, but I feel like they said no. I think the
of all people to give it to.
That's what I was thinking. But that would have made the story even better, innit?
Yeah. If he was doing, he'd never created. He'd never let us forget it. You already know about Serge Aurier.
Guy could get any girl in the Ivory Coast he wanted if they win that.
Bro, man said,
sit down.
Imagine you pull up to a job. I was manager and captain. That's all on me. But in all honesty, they've got a good chance of winning it now. It looks like they're obviously hosting the competition, so they've got that drive behind them. Like, what's our thoughts on what they're doing right now?
I think I watched the game against Mali. Is that they played against them?
Yeah, Mali. Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's just like the emotions I think are propelling them towards something that could be incredible. In all honesty, because even if you look from a quality point of view, I know at the start of the tournament, they really struggled in their group, but a lot of people were like highlighting certain players in their team. I know the midfield that they have. There's a few good players in there.
Yeah.
And if you look at it from that point of view, from a talent point of view, they are one of the best sides, isn't it? But I think based on what we've seen, it's almost it's hard to understand how they've got to this point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
it's willpower.
But in the semi-final, when you get there, like we've seen in AFCON already, like the best teams haven't gone through.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're looking at it now. I actually think their biggest competitor is probably going to be Nigeria, mainly just because with Niger, I think the main thing is they haven't conceded goals, isn't it?
Yeah, very defensively resolute.
They have not conceded goals, and I just think Ivory Coast don't look like they're going to score a lot of goals as well. So I think if they were to come up against each other, I do think Nigeria have the upper hand. Ivory Coast, on the other hand, again, they're the host in it, so you just never know what's going to happen.
So just before we move off Ivory Coast here, did you see like when they must have lost the game and obviously like Mali were leading for a large amount of the game, and the manager's head top is flying, and his assistant's put.
I know you're.
Oh, you know what I'm about to say.
If you watch like when Ivory Coast scored their goal, because obviously they scored in I think it was 121st minute. Or something.
Yeah.
He was about to bring a sub on for a penalty, innit? So he had his arm around him like this, and the goal went in, and for like 20 seconds, they just had the camera on him and he was just like this. The guy's literally looking at it, waiting for his instruction. And he just, like, he was doing this for time. And then at the end of the game, you just see, like, head's gone and he's just sitting there. And I'm just thinking, did he tell him to, like, put the water on him? Or was it just, like, a thing that they have?
Or just a agreement? I'm sure it was one of the most AFCON clips ever. The way you can literally see, like, his head steaming and he's just pouring the cold water.
That is a generational meme.
Oh, my
days. It's almost like sitting in the rain and you're just sitting there, just looking at the distance and getting drenched. Yeah. It's crazy, but it was hilarious.
Bro, his head was hot.
It was hilarious. But I think, obviously, AFCON now, this tournament has probably been, for me, obviously watching from the outside, I don't have a team that obviously has fun there, but this probably been one of the ones that's hooked me in the most. And that's weird, really, because like I think if you look at it from an icon's point of view, obviously Salah went out early.
Yeah.
Probably the best player left in the tournament probably would be Oshimen. Is that correct to say, or is this someone else? Think?
I think most on form, you still got like.
But like before, obviously, like you'd have like a Drogba.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So from that point of view, you'd think that would hook more of the people in. Obviously, with football Twitter the way it is now, I think the rivalries are really making people from the outside watch it as well. But it's been a good tournament, man. When I see some of the goals that have gone in, the quality of goals, bro, has been serious. If you were to make like a best 10 goals of the tournament, it'd be up there with anything.
Yeah, there've been some great goals, and just some great moments as well. So yeah,
Oshimen scored it.
Oh yeah, I think he scored one goal.
Silly goal where the keeper was doing foolishness.
Yeah, he scored one or two goals. So he'd be
like your player of the tournament so far.
Well, obviously for me, it's Lookman.
Lookman, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Lookman's been excellent. I was just gonna say, I think
you guys got in the semi?
we have. How's it left my mind, man? No, we don't have
South Africa, innit?
South
Someone called
Africa.
it as the Mapiano derby.
That's jokes. Yeah. No, we've got my piano, but yeah, I feel like Lookman's been great for us, man. And I think it's nice to see. Obviously, Lookman's UK born, UK raised. It's nice to see, a lot of these guys from Nigeria representing the country of their heritage and having great international careers. I mean, we had Moses like years ago, and he won us an AFCON, representing us, even though he grew up in the UK. But I think he was actually Moses was born in Nigeria, so I had I suppose more ties. Lookman's UK born, UK raised, and he could have a great tournament now. He could have a great story. And there's other players as well. There's Einar. There's the lad who plays for Fulham.
Tossin.
No, I don't know. It's not Tossin. It's the other one. Bassi.
Bassi,
Yeah, so Bassi as well. And I think it's really good. And I always look at, certain players who don't, getting to play for the country of your heritage should be something that's great anyway, and something that it should be hotly contested with the country that maybe you grew up in. But I see players that you're not really getting much of a look in internationally, and you kind of just stay there waiting to get the chance rather than represent where you're from.
I think obviously the other side of it as well is you look at those players that have kind of pledged their allegiance towards Niger at this time. I know you mentioned obviously Einar. Iwobi's there, Lookman, and Bassi. They're all actually G's from Ends.
Oh, okay, are they?
I know two of them. I know Bassi and Iwobi are good friends, but they all would have come across each other across.
Nice.
So I think obviously the chemistry has actually transferred over to the Nigerian team as well. It's not like, sometimes when players come in from abroad, I feel like the worry is like, how are they going to settle into that?
Because outside the English boy international football, outside of the football, it's a big element.
Obviously, with Antonio coming into the Jamaican setup, it's quite random, innit? There's not really anyone that he's come with, he's tied to. So I think that's also another thing. But I also think if Nigeria were to go on and win, and I already think they will have this impact anyway, but I think they should be able to go back to wherever it is that they're living right now, and convince other people to
convince other.
It's almost like you're playing with your guys.
Yeah, exactly.
For your country.
For your country, man. So I hope they can convince the younger gen. Bro, Tomori, come in, man. Southgate's not going to appreciate you, man.
Chukwemeka, guys like Madueke and that as well. Obviously, they're going to hold out for England, but might be wise for them to go.
Might be wise. After a little while, if you start getting to 23, 24, you may as well what I mean?
I think obviously it's a good thing as well.
Over.
World Cup is in 2026, isn't it? So it's actually a good time now to recruit them. Have a 2-year period.
Exactly. I look at some players and you look at I'm trying to think if one comes to mind, but I remember Shola Amiobi in the day. He didn't start playing to Nigeria till he was 30. And he was washed. And we were all cussing him because it's what's the point? And he waited his whole 20s waiting for an England call-up. And God bless Shola Amiobi, but bro, you were never playing for England. That's just the fact. So come in your prime if it's not making sense. Do you know what I mean? Someone like Tomori, to I mentioned, he does have a good chance if Southgate is sacked, which he should be in my opinion. But I'm sure there's a couple others. It's just not on the tip of my tongue, but definitely, bro. A man can't say tip of the tongue.
I'm sorry.
A man can't say tip of the tongue. Is that where we are? I've got to pause that. Is that not crazy? That's a saying, Come on, man. Hey, the man, they were killing me out here, man. Hey, on that note, cut the show, man. Like and subscribe, my people. Like and subscribe.